Okay, the answers to the homework set on the 20th of June. B1, if you factorise, you get x plus 3, x plus 4. Factorise means find the factors, the two things or brackets in this case, that multiply together to make the starting thing. B2, x subtract 3, x add 4. For B2. For B3, the gradient of line A is 2. The line goes along 1 up 2, along 1 up 2. The gradient is 2. For B4, for the line above, what's the y-intercept? Where it starts from is the 3 position, the 3 level on the y-axis. So the algebra rule, the line is y is equal to 3 add 2x. It starts at 3 and goes up. You add as many 2's as you need to. 3 add 2x. Line B, it's parallel, it has the same gradient, the gradient is 2. B7, the y-intercept for that one, where it starts from, is the 8 level on the y-axis. So the algebra rule for line B is 8 plus y equals 8 plus 2x. 8 is where it starts from and 2 is the gradient. 2 is the number in front of the x. Solve the linear equation. The first thing you have to do is add x. The first thing, you've got x on both sides there, which makes it hard to handle initially. So if you add, if as a first step you add x, add 1x to both sides, then you get 4x plus 7 equals 19. Then you could use the cover-up idea. What must be under my finger? Well, it must be 12. So 4x must be equal to 12, and then you could see that x must be 3. To solve in B10, to solve the square equation, the first thing you must do is factorize the left-hand side. So rewrite it as x add 3, x add 4. And then, if you've got something times something equals 0, either the first thing must be 0 or the second thing. So either x add 3 equals 0, which means that x would have to be, the only value of x that can make that true is negative 3, or x add 4 is 0, which the only value of x that can make that true is x being negative 4. So we have two solutions, x is neg 3 and x is neg 4. Flipping over the page. So, to solve the square equation here, you factorize again, you get x add 4, x subtract 3 equals 0. If in maths you have something times something equals 0, either the x plus 4 must be 0 or the x minus 3 must be 0. That leads you to that means that either x is neg 4 or x is positive 3. The two solutions are x equals neg 4 and x equals positive 3. Question B12, the simultaneous equations. You can't compare two things in maths, two relationships, or whatever, unless something's alike. So what I'm doing here is I'm making the number of a's alike. So the top relationship, I'm multiplying everything by 3. Everything's been multiplied by 3. With the bottom relationship, everything has been multiplied by 2. What that then means is that I have 6a plus 15c equals 150 and 6a plus 4c equals 84. Now I can compare the two relationships and I can see that 11c must be equal to 66. That must mean that c is 6, and once I know that c is 6 I can go back to either of the original relationships, either of those, and I can figure out that a must have been 10, or a is 10. So you must find out the values of both of the unknowns, both of the variables. In E1, the area of the square is 20 times 20 is 400. The diameter of the largest circle would be 20 centimeters. The radius of the largest circle would be 10. Work out the area using the rule that's on the sheet there. The area would be 314 square centimeters. So if you cut that circle out of the square, the amount of material or metal that's left behind would be 86 square centimeters. This one here, about the package, part filled with centimeter cubes. The area of the base is 7 times 8 is 56. So you could fit 56 cubes on the bottom layer alone, just the bottom layer. How many layers? 4 layers. So how many cubes in total? 4 lots of 56 is 224, and it's 224 cubic. Oh dear, I've written it wrong there, I think. 224 cubic centimeters. It should be cm3. For a cylinder, the area of the base will tell you how many cubes fit on the bottom layer. The area of the base will be, well, the radius of the circle on the bottom, the radius is 10. So 10 squared is 100 times 3. The area of the base is 314. So you can fit 314 cubes on the bottom layer, and there would be 40 layers. If you multiply those two numbers together, that will tell you the total number of cubes, which is 12,560. So the volume is 12,560 cubic centimeters. The C questions. In the first question, you have 13, 12, and 6. If you square those numbers, when you do, after you've squared it, if you look at the L squared and the S squared and the S squared, L squared does not equal the S squared and the S squared added. It does not equal. So this triangle is not right angled. And the second one, C2, when you square the numbers this time, you get 169, 144, and 25. This time, L squared does equal S squared and S squared, so this is a right triangle. In C3, we're told that it's a right triangle, so we know that L squared has got to be equal to S squared and S squared. So we have 10, 5, and X, the one we don't know. If we square those, we get 125 and X squared. The X squared has got to be equal to 75 because L squared equals S squared and S squared. So X squared is 75. If you square root that or unsquare it, you get 8.66. The last one on this sheet, your side lengths are X, 5, and 4. The long side is the X. When you square those, you get X squared, 25, and 16. Because it is a right triangle, those must be in balance. So X squared equals 25, add 16, so it's 41. X squared is 41. And if you unsquare 41 or square root it, you get 6.40. Right, last page. Last page is about using the three ratios. When you're taking the two pairs of a pair of sides in a triangle and using it to figure out unknown side lengths. So in question D1, we're working with the hypotenuse and the adjacent. So that's a job for the cosine ratio. If you use your calculator or table of values, the cosine ratio for 36 degrees is 0.809, which means it's 0.809 to 1. That's why with those first two figures in the table. The adjacent side is actually 12 in our triangle. So whatever multiplying we have to do to the 0.809 to turn it into 12, we do the same multiplying to the bottom number. How much multiplying do we do to 0.809 to make it into 12? We have to do a divide. So if I do, so I'm doing it right now as we speak, if I do 12 divided by 0.809 on my calculator right now, I'm getting 14.8. So the 1 has to be times by 14.8, so this number that's missing there, the answer is 14.8. Question D2. The sides we're using there are the opposite and the adjacent, so that's a job for tangent ratio. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. The tangent ratio for 29 degrees on your calculator or table will be 0.554, which means 0.554 to 1. The opposite in this triangle is 14, so I put the 14 in there in the table. So whatever multiplying we do to get 0.554 to 14, we have to do the same thing multiplying to the 1. So I need to do a divide. 14 divide by 0.554, and I'll do that right now. If I do 14 divided by 0.554, I get, oops, it's not working. So apologies for this. 14 divide by 0.554, I'm getting 25.3. So the bottom number, the 1, has to be multiplied by 25.3, and that gives us the answer. 25.3 is the unknown side, the X. D3, we are using the opposite and the hypotenuse, so that's a job for the sine ratio, because the sine ratio is the one that links the opposite and the hypotenuse. The sine ratio for 27 degrees is 0.454, which means 0.454 to 1. The hypotenuse in this case is 17, so that's why the 17 is written in there. Whatever multiplying we do here must be done here. Here the multiplying on the bottom clearly is being times by 17. So if I put 0.454 in my calculator and times that by 17, I get 7.72. 7.72, yeah, that's right. The last one is a job. We're relating the opposite and the adjacent. That's a job for the tangent ratio. The tangent ratio for 32 degrees is 0.625, which means it's 0.625 to 1. The adjacent is actually 13, so whatever multiplying we do down here, we must do up here as well. Clearly, the multiplication is times 13. So all we have to do is do 0.625 times by 13, and I'm getting 8.125. Let's call it 8.13. 8.13 to 3 significant figures. And that's what we have to do. And that's the last one on that homework. Thank you.